Imagine a Bible filled with stories you've never heard before. Stories that, though real, were silenced. Why were some texts rejected while others became sacred? Who made these decisions and with what intentions? We're talking about the apocryphal books, ancient texts shrouded in mystery, surrounded by controversy and censorship. Who wrote them? What do they reveal to us? And perhaps the most intriguing question, why did the church decide to ban them? Now imagine manuscripts that present alternative versions of sacred events, shed new light on biblical figures, and even contradict what many consider to be absolute truths of the Christian faith. These texts are like literary shadows, always present but rarely brought to light. Today we will uncover the secrets of the apocryphal books, their origins, their stories, and the reasons behind their exclusion from the Bible as we know it. But beware, this journey promises to be as fascinating as it is unsettling. Because sometimes what is hidden tells us more about power and history than what is revealed. The apocryphal books are one of the greatest enigmas of religious history. The word apocryphal, derived from the Greek apokryphos, means hidden or concealed. In practice, it refers to ancient religious texts that, for various reasons, were excluded from the official versions of the Bible, both in Jewish and Christian traditions. Many of these writings offer alternative perspectives on key figures and events of the faith. For instance, the Gospel of Thomas is famous for its intriguing sayings attributed to Jesus, while the Book of Enoch explores a world inhabited by fallen angels and giants. Other texts, like the Protoevangelium of James, provide unique details about Mary, the mother of Jesus, which are absent from the canonical Gospels. The reasons for their exclusion varied over time. Religious leaders during councils, such as those of Nicaea and Carthage, determined the canon based on factors like apostolic origin, theological consistency, and widespread acceptance among Christians. However, these decisions are not without controversy. Many believe political disputes and institutional interests also played a role in deciding what was included or excluded. These texts continue to intrigue theologians and historians. Some view them as echoes of forgotten religious traditions. Others see them as dangerous deviations from the true faith. Either way, they remain essential pieces of a puzzle that challenges our understanding of biblical history. Perhaps one of the most well-known apocryphal books, the Gospel of Thomas, was discovered in 1945 in Egypt. It contains 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, but lacks the traditional narrative structure of the canonical Gospels. This text offers a deeply spiritual and mystical perspective on Christ's teachings. The work begins provocatively. Whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death. Unlike Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Thomas does not recount miracles or the crucifixion, but focuses on self-knowledge as the path to salvation. However, its association with Gnosticism, a movement that sought spiritual enlightenment and viewed the material world as corrupt, led to its rejection by the Church. Few apocryphal texts are as controversial as the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. Fragmented and incomplete, it portrays Mary as a central figure among the disciples, receiving profound teachings from Jesus. In one instance, Peter questions why Jesus would entrust such revelations to a woman, to which Mary firmly reaffirms her role. The exclusion of this gospel sparked debates about the role of women in the early church. Its association with Gnosticism, combined with its depiction of Mary as a spiritual leader, likely contributed to its rejection by the church's patriarchal structure. The Book of Enoch is one of the oldest apocryphal texts, even cited in the Epistle of Jude. It offers a vivid depiction of cosmic visions, battles between fallen angels, and divine judgment. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, is portrayed as someone who walked with God and received revelations about the future. The text delves into the rebellion of the Watchers, angels who fell in love with human women and fathered giants known as the Nephilim, considered a cause of the flood. While captivating, it was rejected by the Church for theological inconsistencies. However, it remains canonical in the Ethiopian tradition. Discovered in 1978 and translated in 2006, the Gospel of Judas presents a revolutionary narrative about Judas Iscariot. Rather than being the ultimate villain, Judas is portrayed as Jesus' closest disciple, chosen to fulfill the difficult task of betraying him to bring about the divine plan. This interpretation was rejected by the Church due to its Gnostic influences. The Apocalypse of Peter is a fascinating text that offers a detailed vision of heaven and hell, predating Dante's Divine Comedy by centuries. With vivid descriptions, the text depicts terrifying punishments for sinners and glorious rewards for the righteous, creating images that shaped Christian imagination for generations. Despite its initial popularity, the Apocalypse of Peter was excluded from the official canon. Its sensationalist tone and alignment with popular apocalyptic literature of the time led to its rejection. However, its influence remains undeniable, echoing in the way many envision the afterlife. Although officially excluded from the biblical canon, the apocryphal books have played an essential role in shaping religious, historical, and literary culture. They have not only illuminated practices and beliefs of early Christianity, but have also deeply influenced theology, art, and even philosophical and political debates. The apocryphal books provide a glimpse into a Christianity still in the process of formation. In the early centuries after Christ, there was a wide range of beliefs and interpretations regarding Jesus' life, teachings, and mission. Texts like the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene are clear examples of this plurality. While the canonical Gospels focus on narratives such as the Passion, resurrection, and apostolic teachings, the apocryphal texts often delve into deeper, more esoteric themes such as self-knowledge, the intimate relationship between Jesus and his disciples, and the complex interaction between the divine and the human. These texts reveal how early Christian communities debated complex theological questions long before a doctrinal consensus was established. More than religious writings, the apocryphal texts serve as historical documents that shed light on the cultural environment of early Christianity. Works like the Book of Enoch and the Gospel of Judas offer unique perspectives on the interactions between Judaism, Christianity, and other religious traditions of the time. For example, the Book of Enoch, with its descriptions of fallen angels and apocalyptic visions, reflects the influence of Jewish literature from the intertestamental period. Meanwhile, the Gospel of Judas exposes the tensions between Gnosticism, with its mystical and philosophical worldview, and the emerging Christian orthodoxy. These works are crucial pieces for historians seeking to understand the religious and cultural evolution of the era. The exclusion of the apocryphal books was driven not only by theological concerns, but also by political considerations. During the church councils such as the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, there was a deliberate effort to consolidate doctrine and combat heresies. Texts that did not align with the dominant theological vision were excluded, creating an official canon that reflected the interests of the church's leadership. Interestingly, this exclusion only heightened the fascination surrounding the apocryphal books. Seen as forbidden texts, they became regarded as sources of hidden truths about faith and humanity, perpetuating their impact on the collective imagination. Today, the apocryphal books continue to provoke intense debate. They challenge the notion of a singular religious truth and remind us that the history of faith is far more complex than it might seem. For modern scholars, these texts provide an opportunity to revisit and question the foundations of Christianity. For mystics and spiritualists, they serve as alternative sources of wisdom. Archaeological discoveries such as the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Nag Hammadi Library have reignited interest in these texts, raising fundamental questions. What defines truth? Who has the authority to determine what is sacred? These questions continue to resonate, prompting generations to reassess the foundations of history and spirituality. The apocryphal books go beyond being merely rejected texts. They are fragments of a rich spiritual and cultural history that challenge us to rethink what we understand by faith, tradition, and truth. Excluded from the official canon, these writings continue to provoke deep reflections among theologians, historians, and seekers fascinated by humanity's mysteries. These texts remind us that the Bible was not a finished work from the beginning, but the result of human decisions, cultural influences, and power struggles. Curiously, by being rejected, the apocryphal books gained a mysterious allure, attracting generations of scholars and believers interested in what was left out. More than anything, these texts question the notion of a singular sacred truth. They show that while the official Bible sought to unify perspectives, many other stories and interpretations were circulating, debated, and reimagined. And you, what is your perspective on the apocryphal books? Do they hold vital pieces of a greater truth? Or are they simply relics of an era when faith was still being shaped? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to dive deeper into the church's histories and spirituality's most profound mysteries. See you in the next video.